What you see here is a small room, a pub really, crammed into a room no bigger than a typical bedroom, maybe a little bigger. This room sits in the belly of an enormous superstructure called the Fortress City. The Fortress City was built by refugees and convicts and people on the run from the law over a series of over the decades, and it's since become this enormous structure that sits in a highly defensible position somewhere in the mountains. Sitting at a table just in the foreview are our two main characters. So starting off, we have Galabraid. Galabraid is a Death Knight, and he is a mysterious undead figure who was, I'm not quite sure where they picked him up. He's sort of an odd character. Next, we have Sig right here. You wouldn't know just by looking at him, but Sig is actually only half ogre. But again, looking at him, you wouldn't know that, and his behavior wouldn't suggest that he has any kind of human in him whatsoever. Next, we actually have the leader of our group. That is Veronique. She is unnaturally graceful and hauntingly beautiful. She's a Dhampir, and she's very nimble, and like I said before, she's our leader. So, and last, this dubious-looking figure in the cloak, this is Lorkay. He's a fugitive necromancer, half madman, half genius, and all mess. His life has been just kind of one mistake to the next leading up to this. So really what I'm getting at here is this is going to be what I hope to be a long-running experiment. We're going to be doing some solo role-playing, and these four people here are our party. This project was inspired by Stone Axe Tabletop Gaming, Geek Gamers, and Artichoke Dip. These are YouTubers that I'm very, very fond of, and I've wanted to try this myself for quite some time. This is really my first video I've done. I haven't done anything like this really, so excuse the crudeness or any kind of stuttering I do. I'm not familiar with this kind of medium, so. But I found their work to be highly inspirational. So if by some miracle you find my channel before theirs, please go check them out. They have a lot more material than me, and maybe come back when I've done a few more videos. That being said, let's go over what I'm going to be using for the series. Okay, so the YouTubers I talked about before did a really good job of showing you what kinds of materials they were using to create a procedurally generated experience when they were role-playing alone. So I'm going to be doing the same thing. So first of all, Geek Gamers talked about having something like a rubric, that being a system that you adhere to while you play the game. So my rubric is going to be Labyrinth Lord, and we're going to be using the Advanced Edition Companion. The reason we're using the Advanced Edition Companion is because I do like a lot of the stuff that's in it, particularly near the back you have all of these really nifty random roll tables, and that's not just for treasure either. You also have like random tavern patrons, and essentially this is like an NPC generator really, because I mean, like, here's the race, there's the sex, the class if they have one, and then they have these random professions you can roll. You can even determine their height and their weight. This monster list here at the end is really useful for like random encounters, stuff like that. You may notice that the characters that we're running here, a Death Knight, a Half Ogre, a Dhampir, and a Necromancer, well, they don't appear in the core rules. And the reason I'm doing that is because, I mean, I tend to like to play just different characters than is presented. Future subsequent games we may play more basic characters, but I wanted to do kind of a weirder party, and I had all these miniatures lying around that I hadn't used, so I was very anxious to do something like that. So to find these classes, 3 of the 4 are actually found in the class compendium. This is really, really cool. This is like 50 extra classes. that you can find. It's all compatible with Labyrinth Lord, so that's really, really cool. The Necromancer is actually a class I found in Drive-Thru RPG by James and Jody Misher, and I read through it, and it's very, very cool. So that's where the character classes are coming from. Excuse me. So our randomization, or our AI, or whatever you'd like to call it, is coming from a couple of places. So this card right here actually comes from a document, again, I got from Drive-Thru RPG, called OSR Solo Rules. These are just incredible. I'm not going to go through them all right now, but I've condensed them down to this 3x5 card, and we have these things called oracles. So what would happen is, while we're role-playing, we ask a question like, is this door in the dungeon safe to go through? And we would take a d6, and we would roll on these oracles here, and they will give you kind of a yes or a no, or a complication in the middle. And the lower you roll, the worse the no gets. The higher you roll, the better the yes gets. So if we roll here, we got a 5, so it's just a plain yes, the door is safe to go through. But if we were to roll something like a 1, no, and not only is the door not safe to go through, but either the trap triggers prematurely and hurts you, or the monsters on the other side of the door just hurt us and will do something against us. So next, these things here are called twists. Now, I'm not sure when I'm going to use twists, maybe on an extreme yes or an extreme no, but these are like things that happen during a scene. So I don't know if I'm going to use them during combat, but maybe during a social scene like we see here, our 4 characters sitting around a table discussing their first actions in the fortress city. Something may happen where we're going to roll 2d6, and I've color-coded them. So I'm also going to be using these for initiative, because Labyrinth Lord calls for initiative for sides, not individuals. So what would happen during a twist is we would roll, and we match the blue side up here and the red side up here, and it says right here, an organization alters the location. So something that some organization has done has altered this location. This could be a gang from the city coming in here and trying to extort the barkeep here, or somebody's not too fond of four more dubious strangers coming into the city and doing who knows what. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be using is this fate chart, and this fate chart is actually from, I think it's called Mythic. The book is outside the room where I'm recording, so... but the Mythic system is very, very interesting, because very much like the oracles and the twists, this is a likelihood chart of something happening. And I'll give you a better look here. But this table here is going to tell us the likelihood of something happening. And this little row here called the chaos rank will go up and down depending on how things go. So if something goes awry, the chaos rank will get higher, and that means the chances for a yes on the fate chart get higher. So, and when you might notice these smaller numbers, like right here, these are like, I think it's like, that's like an exceptional yes and an exceptional no. So those numbers are a fifth of the large number in the middle. So one is an upper fifth, and one is a lower fifth. What you want to do is to get a yes, you want to roll below the big number. So if you roll in the bottom 1/5, that's an exceptional yes. If you roll in the top 1/5, that's an exceptional no. And these can trigger events. And my group, we call this word salad. On the other side here, you roll an event action and an event subject. And you'll see once we get using these, it's a lot of information right now, but I promise it all makes sense. And I'm going to use my own discretion when using either the solo OSR rules or the fate chart rules. And I think this is going to have to do a lot more with more complicated social situations or things like that. Whereas this is going to be just sort of, we're sitting in the pub, what happens? Okay, so furthermore, something we're going to be using, and thank you, Geek Gamers, for bringing this book to my attention. The Tome of Adventure Design. This thing is worth its weight in gold. It's essentially a couple hundred pages of nothing but random tables having to do with locations and places and people and enemies and villains. And we're going to be using this to develop the world that we're in. But not just the world. I'm going to be using this for random dungeon generation, and I can't quite remember where it's at. It's somewhere around here. But this book has random dungeon layout generation, and that's going to be very, very fun to use. In fact, that's what this first video is going to be, is these four have decided that in order to really take their place or make a name for themselves or gain respect in the fortress city, they need to do a little bit of dungeon crawling. Beneath this enormous city is an unmapped, boundless honeycomb of tunnels beneath the surface of the earth. Now, most of the citizens of the fortress city don't know of much of its existence, but there's untold wealth and danger below. And that's what our protagonists are going to start with today. So I'm going to cut, and we're going to begin the first adventure of the Horrible Four. So this is how we're going to start. Our main characters have wandered below, and we're gonna roll to see what the topography of this first little bit of the dungeons looks like. So you can see here, 337. This is a table that's going to show what the dungeon looks like inside. So this is a D100 roll. So let's take a roll. 18. So this is natural caverns. So they've stumbled through the first, not the first dungeon layer per se, but there used to be sort of an old prison under the fortress where this city was built. And beyond that, we're like going into the first little area of just natural caverns. There's a smashed out brick wall, and there's caverns in there. And our goal is to, we're going to bring back some kind of treasure to show that we mean business and we're to be respected. So this is the area I was talking about before in the book, where, whoops, not this page. Here we go. So this is the size of caverns, shape and size of rooms, stuff like that, unusual rooms. And we're going to, we're just going to kind of build as we go. So here we go. We should roll for our first room. Let's say this is like, this is going to be like an unusual room, yeah? So let's do our first D100 roll and see what that looks like. So this is a 90. So this is an unusually shaped room. And it's shaped like 52. This is a rectangle, 60 feet by 100 feet. So this is sort of a longer room. And then we're going to do 31. Okay. Oh, sorry. So this is the unusual shape. Discard that one. 31 says it's a rectangle 40 feet by, and we're going to roll 1d6 times 10 plus 100. Wow. So let's roll our d6. 1 times 10 times 100. That's a lot of feet. Or is that what that was? Plus 100. Man. Okay, so it's 110 feet across. This is a big room. So if we're going to be doing 40 feet, So in Labyrinth Lord, I think each one of these squares is like 10 feet. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is by 110 feet. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 110, and 10. So let's say our door is right here. So that's where our guys are going to be coming in. And there's our room. Something that I saw Stone Axe Gaming do on his channel when he was doing some Labyrinth Lord is he actually rolled for a number of doors on a D3. So that's what we're going to do before we go in. There's one other door. And let's say that door is right here. Now, these are natural caverns, so I'm not sure exactly where these doors are coming from or if they're natural blockage. But we'll get our guys in here. Let's put the tanky guys up front. That seems like a good idea. Cool. I mean, you can barely see them up at the top there, but they're surely going to move. So we just entered this room, but I really don't think it's empty. So, in the Labyrinth Lord core rules, I'm sure there's an area for random encounters in it somewhere. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to roll on Dungeon Layer 1. And we are going to, here we go, Wandering Monsters. Because I'm sure we're not alone down here. This is an enormous complex of caverns and carved passageways and what have you. So I'd be very surprised if we were down here alone. So we're on Dungeon Level 1. So this is a roll of a D20. So let's roll our danger die. That's the name I'm calling it. I'm going to stick with it. So the danger die rolls a 7. A green slime. Whew. Okay, so let's go to the green slime. Excuse me. Now, I don't really have a miniature for green slime, but that's all right. We will use something else and then confuse ourselves. How's that sound? Green slime. Number encountered 1. Thank goodness. There's only one of these things. Although I guarantee that just means it's pretty tough. So you know what? This green slime is very strange. And it's taken the shape of a table. Because I don't have a green slime. So we're going to use a table. Now the book also says that we should roll for distance. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to roll in tens of feet. Because I don't want to flip through the book all night. So we're going to roll a d10. And that's how many of these squares this creature is away from us. I'm going to say it's somewhere down here. This thing is 5 squares away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's right there. And then if we want, since he's on this row here, let's go ahead and roll which square he's in, just for fun. 1. He's right here. This table-shaped slime. That's very silly, but I like it. So something I do want to roll on. I do want to see the monster reaction, although I have a sneaking suspicion that one doesn't typically roll monster reactions for green slime. In fact, let's take a look at the entry. It's animate, viscous green slime that feeds on plants, animals, and metals, including weapons and armor, but does not digest stone. Oh, well, I mean, we're already in trouble. It just eats armor. Once covering the victim, the green slime will digest all clothing and armor in 6 rounds. The slime feeds so quickly that after this period, in only 1d4 rounds after contacting the animal or a character's bare skin, the slime will completely digest it. Well, we cannot let that happen. And in fact, I guarantee that Lorke there at the back sees that green slime and immediately says, listen, we can't let this live. We got to kill it. So that's what we're going to do. So I really don't think either party is surprised. So we're not going to roll for surprise. So let's get straight into initiative so we can get straight into the action. I spent long enough talking about books and what have you. So the red is going to be our team, and the blue is going to be the monster. And the blue has gone first. So we already know that it's... Oh, I'm sorry. Before we take actions in Labyrinth Lord, we need to announce what we're going to do. These two have already announced their intention to... they said, okay, we're gonna move forward and we're going to attack it. Lorkay is not going to use his one spell prepared. He has one spell at level 1, and he has summoned skeletons prepared. Now, summoned skeletons don't last terribly long at low levels, so he's going to save that spell and instead is going to stand back because it says he's armed with a dagger. So the first thing that's going to happen is this guy... Okay, he can move one square. Thank heavens. He moves one square that way, and he's done. I don't think he has any kind of ranged attack, but he is making very clear that he wants to gobble up not only all of our armor, but all of our skin. So it falls to us now, and the first thing that happens... Now, I know there is a progression to... There's a progression to initiative. I chose Labyrinth Lord because the combination of rules really fit my tastes. And initiative in combat was one of those things that I found very, very endearing about it. So I apologize. I'm still kind of new to Labyrinth Lord. This is just the system I wanted to use. So, that's hirelings. Okay, so the first thing that happens, movements are made. So the first thing that's going to happen is Sig here, who has a speed of... I should keep these on camera. I'm actually rather proud of the the calligraphy names I did here. I have failed to roll speed, but I tell you what, he's not going to close. He's actually going to be using his thrown stones. So his thrown stones are... He's got 2d6 of these things to start with. So dude has 7 stones. He's going to be throwing a stone. And these each do... I think it was like... No, the stones do 2d6 damage. He's got 6 of them. Oh, that's nuts. I like that. So he actually says, everybody stand still. I'm going to throw stones at this thing. So after movements are made, missile attacks are going off. So that's his... he's going to attack the slime with his throwing stones. So he heaves back one of these things that he pulled out of his big side bag there. And let's see. His Thako, because this works on kind of a descending armor class. So his Thako right here is 19. And the green slime's armor class... Oh, man. We don't have to roll. Not applicable. We literally just hit it. That's nice. However, it says it has 2 hit dice. So right now this thing's got 7 hit points. So not terrible. That could have been way worse in terms of hit points for this guy. I'm going to keep track of those over here. So he's got 7 hit points. Okay, so Big Boy Sig is going to roll his 2d6 for damage. Wow, and he kills it outright. Thank goodness. So, yeah, I was kind of worried there when we rolled the slime. But turns out they're not too bad. Okay, so that's the slime gone. I really doubt that slimes have any kind of loot, but it's always worth checking. Let's see. Horde class? None. No loot. But I wonder if there's anything else in this room. Is there anything else in this room? Yeah, let's use the oracles. Yeah. So let's... Is there anything else in this room that's worth our attention? 3. That's a complication. What's that going to be? Oh boy, I'm already kind of nervous now. 3 and 4. An organization hinders the hero. Somebody just showed up. Oh no. You know what I think? I think that some gang from up in the city knows we're here and knows what we're trying to do. And you know what I think? I think they laid a trap for us. So, for a more complex situation, let's take a look at the fate chart here. And let's roll our D100s. I'd say our chaos rank is about 6, because we have run into a monster already. So, the chaos rank being 6, we already know that somebody's coming after us. We know it's a gang. So the likelihood is going to be very likely on a chaos rank 6. So, have they sent people down here to lie in wait for us? 22, that is... I just want to see if that... Okay, it's not exactly a critical, but yes, they have. So I guarantee these guys function a lot like bandits. So these guys are probably going to come bursting in from the other room. So I wonder if... let's take a look and see if there are bandits in the monsters here. And if they're organized by... Really should have done a little bit more reading before doing this, but we know that these are going to be... I suspect these are human, because humans are... Actually, you know what? I think they've got kobolds down here. Kobolds, I've kind of ruled, are pretty common under the city, and sometimes they'll pop up in the city itself. So, kobolds come in groups of 4d4, which is quite a bit. I only have 3d4, so that's what we're going to do. Wow, okay, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 kobolds. And these kobolds come bursting in from this door here. But you know what? I'm going to see if we're surprised. I guarantee we are. But I kind of just want to use the... I would really like to use the surprise mechanics in the book, because that's a lot of fun. And if I can't find it fast enough, I'm just not going to use it, and we will just move on to some more combat. You know, our little foray into the dungeons might be shorter than I anticipated, because if we defeat this gang, I would kind of say we had proved ourselves to a degree. If we lop off all these kobold heads and bring them back to the surface, I'd say that's quite a bit of respect. So what's going to happen is they're going to run into the room. Once again, we're gonna roll for some distance. So again, that's 5 feet away, so or 5 spaces. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're going to organize around this little kobold guy here. I wish I was done painting these guys. They're actually really hard to paint. So we'll set up 10 of these dudes here. Oh man, are we gonna die? I really hope we don't die immediately. That's going to be a short campaign. All right, and let's say that this dude back here is their leader. So they've rushed into this room, and we're going to re-roll initiative again. Once more, red is us, blue is bad guys. Oh man, they're going first. This is bad news. Well, this time we have our 2 front guys. They kind of look at each other and they're like, "All right, this is getting out of hand. We should probably move in." And Lorkay has begun intoning his summon skeletons spell. So, what's going to happen is, let's get back to the Kobold page. And let's hope that we don't die by kobolds, yeah? Oh man, okay, so they can move 20 spaces in combat. So thank goodness they're not actually that fast. They do D4 damage, and they save as a 0-level human. Thank goodness. So these guys can only move 1, 2, 1, 2. So these guys are all going to move up, except for, well, yeah, you know what? These guys didn't, I don't think they were told who our party was. So they didn't really come prepared with anything more than some wooden cudgels and some rusty shivs. So that is their turn past. They have moved. They're not within striking range. Now it comes to us. So Sig the Ogre and Galabraid the Death Knight are going to move up here. And they are going to stop these guys from getting any closer. Veronique, she's pretty quick if I remember. You know what? I think she's just basic movement speed. So I think she moves up here. And Galabraid is intoning his spell. So there's been no missiles to speak of. So melee is going to happen now. So Sig and Galabraid are going to attack using their... Let's see, what does Sig have? He's got a Warhammer that does D6. These guys' armor class is 7. So that means we're going to hit on a 12. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so he's going to hit on a 12 or higher. Come on, bud. That's an 8. No. How about Galabraid? Galabraid has a hand and a half sword, which he's wielding with both hands. So that is going to do 2d4 damage. And he is also going to be hitting on a 12. That's a 20. I don't think there's anything for crits in this game. I'm not going to look it up right now. But next time, if there are, we will use it. So he's going to do 2d4 damage to this poor little kobold. Oh, each kobold is going to have... Each one has 1d4 hit points, so each one of these guys has 3 hit points, we'll say, just for simplicity. And he outright murderizes this poor little kobold with undead glee. He's just very, very happy to be snuffing out the life force of a living being. Actually, I think I got that wrong. I think spells go off before melee. We'll remember that on the next round. So Galabraid has intoned his Summon Skeleton spell, which means he's going to be summoning, I believe, I think it's D6 skeletons? 3d4 skeletons burst out of the ground in 1d4 rounds in an exact location within range, and the range is 30. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3 within range of that. So let's put a little marker here. Boom, this area starts to glow with fell energy. And we are going to get 6 skeletons. And what was that? D4 rounds or D3 rounds? D4 rounds. Man, melee round turn. Okay, cool. I'm thinking turns. Rounds and turns are different in old school. In 4 rounds. That's not a very timely manner, but hey, you know, reinforcements is reinforcements, you know. Okay, so that's the end of the round. So it's time to re-roll that initiative. Once again, red is the good guys. Oh, man. We are not fast, but it makes sense. You know, they're kobolds. They're little. They're quick. So the first thing that's going to happen, let's announce our... I should be announcing these our intentions before we roll initiative. I keep forgetting. So our intention is to keep pushing forward, particularly our 2 tanks. Lorke is going to stick near the back. He really needs to buy like a sling or a crossbow or something. But Veronique is going to try and move up and help them. But these tricky kobolds, they go first. So their movement is let's say this guy goes 1, 2. Actually, I think this guy would be moving faster. This guy is moving up here. And this guy can't really make it. He's going to stick back here. They're going to start piling up here. This guy is kind of barking orders at these guys. I'm not sure how a kobold would inspire other kobolds, but here we go. So, a kobold... Where's the 2 hit on these guys? I think their 2 hits about the same as ours. That's like a first level character, a 0 level character. So I think they hit on like their Thaco's like a 19 or a 20. And Galabraid's AC is a 5. So that means they're hitting Galabraid on a 15. And they're hitting Sig on a whopping 17. So these two are actually attacking Sig. And that's what we're going to do. The red one is this one. The blue one is this one. Ooh! Which one did I say was which? I think the blue one was this one, right? Okay, so they're both attacking Sig. One hits Sig, and their weapon is D4 minus 1. So not a ton of damage, and they do no damage. That's a 1 minus 1. So nothing happens there. But the other one fails to hit Sig. Now this one here is going to attack into Galabraid. They need a 15 to hit him. That's a 9. That was almost a 19. That had me worried. And this one is going to attack Veronique, our leader, whose armor class is 8. So, not so great. That means they got to roll a 12 to hit her. Please, no. That's exactly a 12. That hits her. So that's going to be D4 minus 1. 1 damage. Still, I mean, that's pretty scary at low levels, especially in OSR games. You don't have a lot of hit points. So she has gone from 7 hit points to 6, and I can't find my pencil, so I'm just going to have to remember. And where did... Oh, here it is. So she's at 6 hit points now. Okay, so now it's our turn. Galabraid is going to go after this one here because it is attacking our leader. So he hits these guys on a 12. That's a 20, and that's 2d4 damage because he's dual-wielding his bastard sword. He annihilates it. 8 damage. That's max damage on a 3 hit point creature. So it's been obliterated. Likewise, Sig is going to attack these guys here. He's going to attack one of them. So that's another 12. That is a 12. So that's his 1d6 Warhammer. He does 2. Not enough to kill it, but it's hanging in there. I'm actually shocked that doesn't do as much damage as the sword. I mean, look at him. But there you have it. And Lorkay's being lazy. He's sitting in the back. He's waiting for his spell to go off. So, I'm actually going to come back in a couple of rounds, because that is still 8 kobolds. So, I'll be back in a little bit, and I will let you know how it went. So as you can see, this got a little out of hand. We very nearly lost poor Galabraid. He was at like 2 hit points. Very dangerous stuff. But, eventually, Lorkay's spell went off, and then everything just turned around. There were, kobolds dropping left and right. So they failed morale and tried to flee. However, as you can see, Sig is sitting right in the door, and getting over here is just out of the question. No way they're going to get there. So these kobolds have surrendered. And Sig and Galabraid are about to just put them to the sword and end it, but Veronique says, no. I want to know who sent them. This was our first time in this city, and they're gonna wreck our good time here by trying to kill us on the first day. Are you kidding me? So, we're going to question them, and we're going to see what they say. Now, in this book, Tome of Adventure Design, they do have a table that has to do with patrons or targets. I was going to use this to try and generate a patron, but I discovered one problem. The problem is that is a D1000 table. And I'm currently using my phone to record, so I don't have access to a D1000. So instead, we are going to use, in the back of the Advanced Edition companion, we are going to generate an NPC using the Random Tavern Patrons. So, see here, random patrons. Let's roll our D1000, or D1000. What would that even look like? Let's roll our D100, and let's see who they are. Sorry, that's a D20 for the race of this person. 18. Okay, it's a human. That makes sense. Most of the people here are humans. I assume they have some kind of class. They're a magic user. Oh, man. Okay. And for fun, let's roll, see what sex they are. This is a female magic user. There's a witch who heard of us coming here, and she was really upset about one of us showing up. I assume Lorkay or Veronique. Veronique because she's the leader of the party, and Lorkay because he is a rival magic user. What else do we know about this person? Maybe we should roll in the profession table, just for fun. We're not going to know their name. I really doubt she told the kobolds her name. She probably just threw a bag of coppers or silver at them and said, take these guys out. They're going here. I overheard them, or one of my agents overheard them in that pub. Take them out. They're no good. So maybe we know some traits about this person. Sorry, we're not going to roll professions. We're going to roll this big D100 traits table. So this is the kobolds essentially just describing this. Whoa, describing this witch to us. So I'm going to roll twice on this table, and we're going to take a look what that's like. So she is 32. She's completely hairless, so she's like bald. And a 28. She was rather friendly, and she's very bald, so she approached them in a polite manner and said, listen, you lot, there's a group of people that are coming in to the fortress city, and I can tell they're bad news. I need you to do this for me. Here's some gold up front. I'll give you more when you get back and bring me their heads. So as you can see, that did not quite work out. So, unfortunately, now that they know our capabilities, we can't let them go. At least that's what Veronique says. Veronique says there's no way we can let them go. She points at Galabraid and nods, and Galabraid at Lorkay, and Lorkay snaps his fingers, and all of these skeletons here converge on the kobolds and just hack them to pieces wholesale. There's nothing left. So we will not have whoever this is getting any word from these kobolds as to our presence and whether or not we made it. So what's going to happen now is we're going to skulk back into the fortress city. I did not expect our adventure would take place in the city itself, but I'm actually kind of excited. If you're wondering, this is the end, by the way. The next episode is going to be where we're going to pick up. But if you're wondering where I got the idea for the fortress city, I actually got it from Kowloon Walled City. It was something I saw a little while ago. I watched a small documentary on it, and I was utterly fascinated with how it looked. And I was trying to think of a setting that I was going to solo role play in. and that struck me as just a very impressive setting for a group of 4 ne'er-do-wells to play around in. So that has been episode 1 of the Horrible Four and their adventures in the Fortress City. Next time we're going to do some investigation, and we're going to figure out who this woman is who has sicked these kobolds on us, and hopefully with some luck exact bloody vengeance.